Good afternoon, crafters, and welcome to Season 3 of P2PCrafts Presents, brought to you by From Picture to Page and Beyond Papercraft shows. Now, I'm your host, Michelle Brown, Creative Director From Picture to Page, which is our scrapbooking, mixed media art, and papercrafts community. Now, P2PCrafts presents a whole heap of demonstrations and chats with our talented retailers, along with some guest artists. So for all the details of Season 3, to catch the replays and to catch up on Season 1 and Season 2, you know what to do. Head over to our website from picturetopageandbeyond.com.au, where you can get all the latest information. Any changes will go straight onto the website, and of course, as we gather new people along the way, they'll get added there as well. Now, while you're there, make sure you're on our email list, because at the end of each week, we will wrap up who's been on and send that out to your inbox, as well as letting you know who's coming up in the week ahead. Now, whether you're watching here live or you're watching a replay on Facebook, YouTube, or on our website, we would love to know that you're there. So pop in the comments, say hi, just like Marilyn and Tammy have, and it'd be great to know that you're out there. And of course, if you've got any questions for us today, pop them in the comments as well, and we will do our best to get to them. Now today, P2PCrafts presents Mixed Media Art. That's right, I am back with Mixed Media Art hat on, and I'm doing some art journaling today. So I'm really excited to be talking to you today about how we add words into our art journaling. So we'll be talking about why would we want to add words into our art journaling, a couple of different ways to do it, and then we're going to do a demonstration as well. So I'm really looking forward to having a good chat with you today. Hi Wendy, hi Michelle, hi Jenny, great to see you all there. So why would we want to add words into our art journaling? So it's just one of those human things that we're really just sort of drawn to words. It's really lovely to be able to have them there to help tell the story, to perhaps share some emotions, to perhaps capture really a favorite quote or an aphorism. And I love aphorisms because they're really simple words that bring together perhaps some feeling or puts things into words that we can't quite express ourselves. So it's really good to add words because that helps guide both ourselves and those that look at our art to where we're sort of wanting to lead the piece. You know, it helps tell that story. And again, there's no rules in art journaling, so you don't have to add words. It doesn't have to tell a story. It doesn't have to tell a story to anyone else other than yourself. It might just be expressing what you're feeling on that day. So there's lots of different reasons why you might add words or quotes to your art journaling, and there's lots of different ways to do it. So let's pop over to the demonstration table and get started. Okay, so our first way of adding quotes onto our art journaling, and be very familiar with all of you stampers, is by simply stamping. So here I've got one of the pages that I did yesterday. You might have seen this in the Papercraft Posse. Here I've stamped the quote directly onto a piece of old paper. You can see it's got a nice little colour to it, and then I've stuck it on. What I've also done here, hopefully you can see, is actually stamp the quote around behind it as well to create a bit of a word cloud to just help support that as well. But that one I was happy with just stamping it on, and away we go. Now, a lot of Dina Wakley sets comes with stamps, so this one is Scribbly Fish, and not only has it got a lot of fish, and can you see the fish hiding in here, and some little bits of seaweed, but it's also got happiness comes in salty water, let the sea set you free, and I think there's another quote at the top as well. So quite often the stamp sets will include quotes, or there's others that have like just quotes. So there's a Delusion set that's got just quotes. Now in the first one, I've just stamped that and popped it straight on, and then put a bit of a border around it to help it stand out. Here, I wanted the quote to be broken up a bit, so I've cut it into smaller pieces. So you don't need to leave it as a full quote like you would perhaps in card making, but here I've cut it up and stuck it on to help tell that story. And what I've also done is use some letter stamps to reiterate that word believe in here as well. And it's, can you see it there? You can just sort of see it there. It's in really dark orange over the purple. So this says change for no one and believe in who you are. So because I had a bit more space, I replicated that word believe as well. And it's always fun stamping directly onto it, but it can be a little bit scary. That's why sometimes just stamping it onto a scrap piece of paper or some tissue is a great way to go, because if you muck it up, you haven't ruined your page. You can still always go back to it. Now, stamping directly in is really good because it gives you the flexibility to tell your own story. So here I've used the quote, "We can do hard things." Now that's a quote from Glennon Doyle for her latest book, Untamed. So here are the hard things I've stamped in foam stamps, and I've checked that our paint's quite opaque so that it doesn't, it sits on the top, it doesn't show the background through. And what I've also done, if you notice carefully, is that I've used a little bit of gold pen and a little bit of highlights there just to help it stand out as well. So sometimes we can just use highlights, sometimes it just helps to put those little bits on it so that it sets it away from the background as well. Because sometimes in our art journaling, we might think a lot about what we do as far as our words, sometimes not. Quite often I'll do a background, I'll add a focal point, and then I'll think of a quote that I want to add on. So that's what I did in this case. So that's a lot about stamping. What else? Of course we can collage. Ooh, I've got things everywhere to show you. We can collage on, so just as we've done with that one, we can cut it out and stick it on. What else was I having? Oh, I've got bits everywhere. Okay, so we can also, for those that have got a die cutting alphabet or words in your die cut, we can cut them out and stick them on as well. And one of the things I like doing is cutting them out in such a way so that I get the positive and the negative as well. So feelings are for feeling, that's another Glennon Doyle quote. And so here I've die cut out the letters. I've then modified it a little bit to use a lowercase f there, but using these letters. And then just use some handwriting in there so it wasn't too overwhelming. It still gave you a good flow, because that's the challenge as you journal in different sizes. You sometimes need bigger letters than your stamp set might provide, so you need to really look at how you can scale that up. Okay, so there's stamping, there's die cutting, there's collage. Of course, you can use all your own quotes as well. And sometimes I'll just write mine by hand because I get impatient. So this is one of the ones that I had done a drawing, I've added a few die cuts, and then here I've just done by hand. Some days she just ran out of big girl pants. And this was done with a really fine paint pen, because we want to make sure it's something that will dry. Well, you can see it smudged a little bit there. That will dry, and of course will sit up on our art journaling as well. We don't want it to sink into the background. If we find that our background's not clear enough, we might need to create some space by writing onto a piece of paper or by putting some more white paint under it as well. Okay, so what's some other ways? So here's a combination of things that we've done. Here we've done some collage and we've used the Dina Wakley tissue. Please do not feed the fear. And then I've reinforced that over here with handwriting. So I've got Battle the Fear Within. And I originally had it in quite a dark grey and it didn't really stand out. So I've gone over it in a white pen. And that sort of stands out a little bit more. But again, when you look at it as a whole layout, this quote catches your attention first, and then the face, and then those words sort of pop out as well. So sometimes your quotes don't have to be right in your face, it can be sort of hidden a little bit as well. And again, we're only journaling for ourselves. So some of the other things, so we talked about die cuts. Again, it gives us the flexibility to use the words that we want. So here, I've just cut out the kindness, put the double-sided adhesive on the back to make it really easy to stick down, and then we've added that, and then away we go. So there's stamping, there's collaging, there's die cuts. Of course, you can use your own quotes. Quite often that'd be a way that I'd start if I was trying to work to a theme, is by finding a quote that worked for me and then working my journaling around it as well. Okay. So here's another handwritten one. So she gave herself permission to be sad. Which I think is important at the time, this moment, isn't it? Sometimes we just need to stop and be sad. And that's okay too. It's okay to be sad. Feelings are fulfilling. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a demonstration. Let's get these out of the way and have a play. Hopefully that's given you a few ideas. So I've grabbed a handful of things, and of course we're making this up as we go. So this was the layout that we did, I think last time we were together when we were talking about embedding images. So I've got a beautiful face here with some hair, I've got that, and then I've grabbed a few different things to sort of try a few things out. So here first is one of the Dina Wakley tissue paper, but I think the challenge here is that that's going to be really lost. Although again, if we wanted something subtle, that works okay as well. I've got these little chipboards from scrap mats. So these come with all different words all ready to go. All you need to do is break them off and then I will quite often just sand them a little bit and then edge them as well, just to take that edge off. But I think that's going to be too small. So what I might do is add this one. Now this, for those of you that have been crafting as long as I have, this is a Making Memories sticker set, which I really love, and I found this one here, Dream. So I thought this would be a good one to play with. As you can see, I've already pre-cut it, so you don't have to watch me mucking around. Because I didn't want it as a solid block, I wanted to split it up. So I've put some lines through it, and then we'll split it up a little bit. So I'm going to add it on with my favorite Crafters Workshop gel medium. This is matte, and I just love it because it dries so nicely. Now this is where we get in trouble. Technology and glue don't always mix. So I want to put the Dream bit, I still want to keep that on its side. So let's pull that off. So even though this is self-adhesive, because of the way my journals get handled, I'd really prefer to be able to stick it down, and then I know that it will be stuck there for good. And this is quite old, so I wouldn't really trust that adhesive, and I know that this one will dry nice and matte. It's the same as I've put on there. Okay, so that's the first part. Now we sort of want to lay these 3 points across it. And I don't like it too solid because I want my background to show through. I love this green, I love the pink and the orange dots. So this one, that's a little bit long, so with my messy fingers, just trim that down. If we don't get gel medium by the end of the day everywhere, then we haven't had a good day. And then again, just a little bit on top, that helps give a even layer of moisture on the top and the back to stop it warping so much. Okay, here's that second bit. Again, that's probably a little bit long. So this is a really cute little definition. There's absolutely no reason why you couldn't create your own or use a dictionary. Again, if you had something that was sort of the right size for what you were looking for. Oh, I just love using my fingers in this stuff. Very therapeutic. Okay, and finally, again, this one was a little bit close to cutting. Oh, I just realised I didn't actually peel the back off. Oh well, not to worry. Once it's stuck, it'll be stuck. There we go. So now I've got dream, a daydream, images passing, and to seek and search. Now when we add our quotes into our art journal, we don't want to just stick them on, otherwise it looks a little bit like a kindergarten collage. What we want to do is add a little bit more depth to it and help embed it. Now for those of you that have done my art journaling class, you know there's not many rules in art journaling, but my absolute one thing is that we do not want to put any pens or markers on top of wet gel medium or wet paint because it will ruin them. And the way we know that is because we've ruined many, many good pens. So rather than go over this one, I'll grab one that I've prepared earlier and we'll do a little bit of embedding. So here's one that I created. This is my Dina Wakley mixed media journal. So it's got Hessian pages and all sorts of different things. And this was a similar sticker that came on that Making Memories set. So this one's Grow and had a butterfly. So again, I thought that kind of worked. So I've grabbed some things to play with. I've got some markers. I've got a gold and black pen and also a white gel pen. Grab my Dina Wakley scribble sticks because you can always add a scribble stick somewhere. And then I'll grab a paintbrush and a little bit of water so I can activate that as well. So looking at it, I really want to highlight this grow. I want that to stand out. So I'm going to start, I don't know where I might start. So this has got some paint on it, it's got some tissue, it's got washi tape, it's got some gel print cutouts, and this is actually a butterfly, the darkroom door small butterfly, and it's got the transfer foil stuff on it. What colour do I want? Well, there's an orange, so I might grab that one for later. Oh, and there's the pink. So these two sets are just completely mucked up, so they don't come like that, but we do have both of these in stock at the moment. Okay, I'm wondering, I'm thinking because this pink is sort of a medium colour, I don't want to go too light with the yellow, I think we won't see it. But there's a little bit of purple here, so maybe I can pull out a bit more purple. So let me grab this one, this is that blackberry. And sometimes this is the best part of art journalings because we don't really have any plan, we don't have any intention, we're just going to go play and see what comes out of it. So there we go, so I'm drawing around that and then just a little bit on it to again help embed it. Now these scribble sticks are water active pigment sticks, crayons, and what we want to do then is just add that little bit of water, and you can just sort of see it coming alive there as well. Now the other thing is there's quite a bit of pigment in that, so rather than wasting it, what we can then do is go popping it somewhere else. So that's what we can do if we decide we really like that colour and we actually don't have it anywhere else, is go add it in a few places. So we can say, okay, let's add a little bit over here, and perhaps let's continue this line over here. So we can always just keep adding things on, and if we've added something that wasn't in the original design, it's really easy just to add a few other bits that will help connect it. So it doesn't look like it's just thrown on top, it's now connected through the colours in a few different places. Okay, so maybe we can do each of these a different colour. Is that taking it too far? I don't know. So let's try yellow. I said this is where we can just play. Just add that little bit of yellow in. And that sort of helps tie that in. And again, we can just add a little bit somewhere else. Now, what was I thinking? That's right, I was going to do sort of 3 different colours. So I might do a little bit of orange next. That's the great thing about using the Dilutions and the Dina Wakley paints, is that we know that the colours will all match. So the scribbly sticks, this one's cheddar, and we've also got cheddar paint, and chances are that was made with cheddar paint as well. But again, if it doesn't quite match, it doesn't matter, because we're going back and adding those extra bits in. Oh, that looks really pretty, can you see that? I like that. This is a really pretty page. I like the greens, I like the pinks. Okay, and then finally we'll do a bit of pink on this one. It's probably, if I had taken a little bit more time when I was doing it, I probably would have cut it a little bit differently, but not to worry. Like I said, it's a little bit big, so let's just colour over that and help hide that. Now, because these are soluble water, we want to make sure that we do wash our brush between them, or we will end up mixing colours. So again, that could be a good effect, but not the effect I'm going for just here. Okay, that's got quite a bit more colour on than the others, but that's okay. Let's add a bit here, and a bit there. Now these sticks also, they do remain water active, so if we wanted to do a lot more over the top, we might have to look at sealing it or just being a little bit more conscious of it. Okay, so now we've got grow, we've got that. We could probably, did I have a different colour? Add a little bit more yellow now that I've, like everything, now they got to the end. Go back and being a bit more heavy-handed, because it's always easier to add a little bit more than taking it off. Though slow and steady is not always my approach to art journaling. But hopefully with age I'm getting a bit better. There we go. So again, in our art journaling class we sort of talk about how do we evaluate whether we're finished or not. So let's just step back. We can see we've got the colours in a few places, so that works. I don't know, maybe we could like completely colour this in, since these are really translucent, you can see through them. Again, this is why it's really good to know your different craft mediums, as we talked about in this week's update, because if this was then to completely block out the writing underneath it, then it would not be a good move. And also this is going straight over that gel medium as well, so I know that gives me a nice surface. Oops, how many things can she hold in one hand? There we go. Oh, I like that. Then that sort of lets that grow stand out a little bit more because it's really the only white thing left on the page. There we go. Now, is it finished? I don't know. I'm not sure, but we've definitely embedded those words by adding some colour in. So rather than looking like we've just collaged it on the top, we've stuck it in. Now what I also love doing is using these pens. Now these are Faber-Castell Pit Pens. They're full of India ink. So fantastic for blending, fantastic for writing in journals. And again, just adding marks. So this is a lot more solid than our scribble sticks. But again, it's sort of given us the courage. Again, we want to make sure that it's dry. Make sure we've got an odd number. There we go, just adding a little bit of interest here and there. Perhaps even, we've got these circles here, so we could look at perhaps highlighting and creating some shadows. So a cool colour for doing that in is this marine colour. It's a really dark blue, so rather than actually using black, so what we can do is just imagine if these were sort of circles on top of each other and they were rounded, where would they sit? And I think shading really is what takes our craft to art. And sometimes you do this, you think, oh, I've ruined it, but what happens when you water activate it? See how it just almost disappears? It's a little bit hard to see, but there's still just that tiniest bit of shadow sitting there. I love turning my gel prints into circles. That's one of my favourite things. I think we did that, didn't we? Turning our gel prints into stickers. If not, there'll be a video over on the mixedmediaart.net website. There we go. So again, just really subtly adding little bits here and there. And then sort of to embed the whole thing, let's just see how I just get more and more heavy-handed as we go along. You sort of get a bit of confidence up and think, oh, that worked okay. What could possibly go wrong? There we go. And like I said, knowing your craft supplies really helps, because I know that when I activate that, it really will just become that little shadow, just to help place those circles rather than look like they're floating. Okay, so what we also might want to do, we'll go even to shadow, is also give it some highlights as well. So there is a white in this set, and again, finding the ultimate white. So this one we might want to activate, but we might just pop a little bit there. So we want to think if the light's coming from this way, and see how suddenly, I'll lift that up for you. Focus. See how that's just given those circles just a little bit of life. So we've got the shadow under it and between them, and just that tiny little subtle highlight that just really adds that little bit of, again, if you're looking at someone else's work, you probably wouldn't sort of register why it's got your attention, but it's just adding that little bit of interest. Okay, so I'm thinking that that's pretty close to being done. So that's all quite dry now. So if I wanted to go over it perhaps with a little bit of gold, we can just do that. Again, just stick to really simple lines. It's always good to add a little bit of metallic, isn't it? A drip of water there, we don't need that. Especially nowhere near our good pens. But again, I've added some gold there, so where else can I add some gold? Add some over here, add some over here. So I want to just make sure that anything we add has a few little friends here and there as well. So that's what our eyes will pick up on. They'll see a glint of gold and then search for other glints of gold as well. Okay, now if we decided we needed some scribble writing, oh, let's get that water out of the way. And scribbly writing is great fun. So perhaps we could just put a little bit in here just to help anchor this. So the idea of scribbly writing is to write but overlap the letters. And this is a food ball pen, and this does take a little bit of time to dry, so I'll always make sure we pop that on last. There we go. I think we need a bit more. See, now I've done one lot, I'm going to need another lot. Adding some more. As someone suggested, the handwriting looks like that at the best of times. So there we go. We've added on some words, simply collage them with some gel medium, with my favourite Crafters Workshop matte gel medium, which we've got in store at the moment, and then added a little bit of the gel, the scribble sticks, and then just used that, and then like we said, took that colour and added it elsewhere as well to help pull it through. So some people do a lot of planning, and that's great. I don't tend to do planning. I like to do the retrospect planning. So adding a little bit and go, oh, I like that. Let's add it in a couple of other places. So rather than trying to think too far ahead at the start, because I think sometimes that can really stifle our creativity as well. If all we do is try and think about, oh, I want to do this, then I want to do that, and I want to do this. So rather than doing that, we just want to work through it slowly and then add those colours as we go as well. Excellent. Okay, so is there any other questions? Thanks, Carolyn. Thanks, Wendy. Yeah, I love the scribble sticks too. So the exciting thing we've got to chat about today for Mixed Media Art is that I've got a whole heap of new stock in today. So to make it even easier to add words into our art journals, because that's where my head's at the moment, we've got a whole heap of the Tim Holtz Idea-ology stickers. So there's words, there's quotes, there's all sorts of things that come in black and white. And then I've got some Delusions ones as well. Now these ones might suit the cheeky art journalist. This has got things like, let's talk soon because I miss the sound of my voice. So these ones are a little bit cheekier, probably a little bit, although these ones are Tim Holtz snarky as well. And of course we've got the Dina Wakley collage words on the tissue paper, and we've got this third set in now as well. So that's great value because that comes with 5 sheets in the black, and you see that it comes in 5 sheets in the white as well. So it gives you a really good option of adding different bits of interest. So these come in 2 different designs in black and white. So again, this comes with 8 sheets of stickers, so heaps of things there. It said, let's be skipping the gym buddies. Don't be afraid to tell someone how you feel. Bonus points if they start to cry. I don't agree with that. I don't think we need to make anyone cry. So this big chat has just a whole heap of just straight words, and this has got both black and white pages. So again, really easy to add those words, whether you want them more subtle or whether you want them really sticking out. And these snarky ones, what have we got here? At times I'm grateful that thoughts don't actually appear in bubbles over our heads. That is true. That would be really challenging, wouldn't it? And again, that's got them in the black and white as well. And so they are self-adhesive, so fantastic for adding onto cards. But like I said, if you're doing something a little bit more robust and you've got the gel medium, I just pop the gel medium on top as well, just to make sure that they stay. So I hope you've enjoyed that little bit of overview of adding words into your art journals. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, so not only have we got new stock over in our store at mixedmediaart.net and click on the shop, we've also got some more upcoming classes. So we're about to do a second intake for our Art Journaling Sojourn, which is a 6-week journaling class that leads you through all the layers, right from adding ephemera, adding paints, adding focal points, adding marks, of course adding words, and then adding those finishing touches as well. And the great thing I love about that class is that it's really small. We just have up to 6 crafters. We do it in a private group each week. Everyone's got a little bit of homework so that they can practice, and then we've got a private Facebook group as well, so we can come and we can share ideas and check in. So it's a really lovely little way of helping people along on their art journaling journeys. And also we're coming up with some gel plate classes online as well. Of course, all the details are over at our website, mixedmediaart.net. Hi Sandra, hi Jackie, hi Carolyn. So it's really good to have you all here. So I hope you've enjoyed that. So we talked about why we'd add words to our art journaling. We talked about a few different ways of doing it. So pull out all the things you've got. Have you got stamping quotes? Have you got words that you can use? Have you got stickers that we've all bought at some point and maybe haven't used them? Or have you got those jumbles of letters? They don't have to be uniform. You can put all sorts of different things together because it's your art journal and you don't need to share it with anyone. And then we looked at how we can run through that process as well. So getting the words down and then looking at embedding them a little bit just so that they don't look quite so stuck on and so in your face, helping them get them settled into that page. So I really hope you enjoyed that demonstration of getting words into your art journaling. And Jackie wants to do some gel plating. Excellent. We will get that class up soon. So I hope you did enjoy today's class. Of course, catch up on the replay, and all of the details they'll be over at the From Picture to Page website, frompicturetopage.com.au. And Jackie wants to know, does it come with biscuits, cheese and wine? You know, Jackie, that if we could be here in person in the studio, it definitely would, because sometimes we do need to loosen up and relax for our art journaling, but not this time. That will be all online. You are welcome to bring your own cheese and biscuits as well. So I think that's all I needed to tell you. Like I said, to catch up with all the details, head over to the From Picture to Page website, and we'll have all the links to the Mixed Media Art website as well. And if you've got any questions, pop them here in the comments or send me a message. And of course, you all know where to find me. So this is Michelle Brown signing off. We hope you have a crafty day.